Welcome to Unscripted with Kirby Hoffman and Bill Petrie. In this weekly podcast, Kirby and Bill talk about the world of marketing, branding, and promotional products. Unscripted is available only at promocorner.com, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry. Now, here's Kirby and Bill.
And welcome to episode number 185 of Unscripted. I am your co-host, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the warrant officer of writing instruments, wallet cards, women's wovens, and winter jackets.
It's like my titles get longer.
The one and only Kirby Hoffman. Kirby, how are you doing? How the hell are you? I think I have to say that, right? Yeah, how the hell are you?
I think we're contractually obligated for you to say that. No, I'm doing well. I'm sure you are getting ready for the big week in Vegas, so I'm looking forward to that. That's always a stressful time trying to wrap everything up. I know you know that. But other than that, I'm doing fantastic. How are you, bud?
Doing great, like you, kind of jettisoning myself. Jettisoning?
That's a great word.
Yeah. Propelling myself into the new year, getting ready for PPAI Expo, kind of last-minute things, heading out to get our booth ready, and really excited about that. But Kirby, I bet you know there's something else I'm super excited about right now.
But what is that, Bill?
Kirby, thank you so much for knowing to ask. That would be our good pals over at commonsku.
Nice.
That's right. You know, commonsku was designed and built by distributors for distributors. Means they understand the promotional products industry and the challenges the modern distributor faces, Kirby. You know, there's so many features on the commonsku platform, and I love to just kind of pick one here. The one I love the most is it's always challenging to keep your clients in the loop on things, but they have those project portals that allow your clients to see every single thing that's going on in a project all in one place. And each portal, as you know, Kirby, has a history of your project communications, whether it's emails, presentation comments, whatever it may be, and it gives your clients order status visibility.
It does. It does. And what's interesting is so many times you can goose your clients, for lack of a better term, with that portal, because you can say, look, it's not been approved yet, and they can see that for themselves. I think,
right.
You know, when they can see it for themselves, or when they check in on their own order and they go, oh my gosh, I haven't approved the proof. Yeah. That's where I've seen like very specific action being taken, and that's so powerful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, from ideation to invoicing, commonsku really keeps your team connected at all stages of the workflow. And we've said it before, I'm going to say it again clearly, great people there, care about the growth of your business. So if you want to learn more, go to commonsku.com/unscripted. I don't think you'll regret it if you do.
I don't think you'll regret it as well.
All right, Kirby, are you prepared to record at a dry air level today?
I think that's totally appropriate. Dry air is exactly right.
All right. Well, Kirby, I don't know if you're aware of this. I'm going to start. That means I'm starting off the topic.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Online 18 came out yesterday from the one and only Dale Denham.
Yes.
And you were on the list. I was on the list. And great. It's something I look forward to every year, and honestly, I'm very honored that it's on Promo Corner this year. So just want to go over a couple quick things here. Let's start at the back end here. Kathy Chang, who I really, really like. I don't know if you know her. She's fantastic. Okay, thought you did know her. Dana Zezzo on the list. Meg Erber, Jay Buscelli, Brittany David, Paul Bellantone, Tim Andrews, and ASI, Vin Driscoll, who runs the Twitter feed for ASI, Charles Dugan for Car Pen Karaoke, sometimes a painful watch, always a painful watch. Angela Morris, Carrie Cowden, who hosts the Promo Cares radio podcast. Mark Graham, commonsku team, coming in at number 8. Kirby Hasseman, that's you, coming in at number 7. Congratulations.
Thank you, buddy.
Brittany Godsey, who's completely killing it on Instagram, from Gold Bond at number 6. John Norris from Starline, number 5. I came in at number 4. I have lost my number 1 ranking, Kirby. I have dropped to number 4, but I'm honored to have done so.
It happens to the best of us.
Well, I think it's because I'm not bitching about pumpkin spice anymore.
Yeah, Dale loved that.
Number 3, Danny Rosen.
Yes.
Number 2, Charity Gibson. Great Charity there. And then number 1, which I loved, he's not been on the list before.
Yeah.
And came in I'm hoping it's not a flock of seagulls type situation where he has one hit wonder like with Iran, but I hope he stays. Nick Latour from Imagine Brands, who has this whole Monday thing going, and if you haven't seen the videos, I know you have, Kirby.
Yeah.
He does a picture or a video every Monday because he loves Mondays, and then does a product feature every Monday. It's really cool. So congratulations to everyone on the Online 18. I wanted to ask you what your thought was when you saw the list, number one. And then are there some people who we might have missed? And I have a list, so I can start off with that if you'd like.
Well, I'll give you my initial thought, then we'll go to your list. Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep. So my initial thought really has to do with Nick. It's funny. I met Nick at Expo East.
Yep.
I think it was actually Brandon who
I think you were at our booth when you met him.
And so at any rate, it was I was so tickled. And what's interesting to me is I'm actually talking about him in my session at Vegas as a person who's built a personal brand.
Right.
And, I think it's a perfect example of where we talk about, man, that guy or gal came out of nowhere. And I have a graphic in my presentation where I talk about 70 Mondays in a row. And they were pictures. He's evolved it to videos that are quite frankly, really fun and super creative. But it just started with a very simple picture of him sort of looking off into the distance, going into Monday-like. And what's, I think, important about it is that he showed up every single week. I think that's something that we... not you and I, but we as a culture undervalue. It's like, well, nothing happened that first time. Nothing happened that second time. 70 Mondays in a row he showed up, and it's been more than that now.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he, quote unquote, is an overnight success.
He catches fire, absolutely.
Yeah. And so part of that showing up every week is sort of building your foundation. Part of it is growing your muscles and getting more creative. Part of it is, you know what I mean? It just, so many times when it comes to content and social, and you know this, it just takes time. And I absolutely love that he sort of debuted on the list at number one, and I look forward to it now. What is he going to do this week? My personal favorite was he did a deal where he had clearly jumped into a lake, but he reversed the video, so it looked like he was coming out of the lake into Monday. And so that was probably, and there, like as you mentioned, there's a bunch of people on that list who I admire and I respect, and I love when Dale does it. It makes like literally the moment that the Online 18 comes out, I stop in my tracks to see what's on that list.
Yeah.
Dale does a great and exhaustive job. So
he
so
does.
that was my initial take, and I'd love to hear who you think might also be on the list.
Yeah, so same thing. Dale had actually approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to publish the Online 18?" Because I had expressed interest in that a year or two ago, and I said, "Absolutely." And so he was very gracious and proud to have it on Promo Corner, and I share that because it's not a conflict of interest. I have nothing to do with the list at all. I just get it from Dale and make a few tiny edits and then put it on. So it's all Dale. And he does an exhaustive job. That's a great word. He does an exhaustive job, and he does it with care. Right. Again, we say this every year. Dale feels like he shouldn't. Anybody who creates a list shouldn't be on said list. I understand his perspective, but I think Dale should be on that list. Certainly not higher than me or you, but on the list. But I did think, okay, because I know, it's one of those things, you create a list and it's got a finite number, 18.
Right.
So there's always people who maybe should be considered for that list, and so I thought that'd be interesting. So here's a couple ones, and Dale's asked for this. Who have I missed? Right. So a couple people who popped into my head as maybe potential misses.
Right.
Roger Burnett. From Social Good Promotions. I think that's a potential miss there. Okay. I think Roger has been very consistent with his So You're in Sales podcast, and he does a lot of social good posting in terms of not just promoting his business, but promoting social good in the grand scheme of things. Right. Maybe Shannon Laredo, perhaps.
Actually, I did think of her this morning. That's a good one.
I thought maybe Brandon Petrich even because of what he does with Promo Every Day and some of the other things. So just some ones of potential possible misses, but you never know. Again, you're always going to have people who are left off.
Yeah, of course.
I thought the list was great, and it's always good conversation.
Yeah, and lists, we talk about this every time any industry list comes out. I absolutely love them. Yeah. But Brandon Petrich was the one that popped into my head immediately. He has developed certainly a personal brand, but he's, again, he's the model of consistency. I know that that's something that you guys at Promo Corner work on. The other one, and I'm obviously Kenny Ved, Charles Dugan.
Yep.
That's one that Amelia, I think, is developing. Not that the whole list should be Promo Corner, but I think Amelia Model is doing a great job with her new content. And then the whole crew at Raining Rose.
Yep.
That one, and I started to write, make one name, but I'm like, I actually like, as a group, I think that group not only creates some content, but they do as good a job as an organization of engaging, like sharing and curating and commenting as anybody. So those were the ones that popped up.
And that's something Dale said he's really kind of starting to focus on a little bit, the organization. So ASI was mentioned as an organization, so was commonsku. And so I think he said next year he's going to put companies in there. So like number 6 might be just commonsku, for example. So good stuff. All right, Kirby, do you have a topic you'd like to regale us with at this time?
Sure. So again, this is the time. We are all getting ready to head to PPAI Expo. Not all, but a big portion of the listening audience.
Yep.
And actually, I got an email from John Anderson, who is a normal listener, and he's not going to make it. So he's like, one of the ways he's going to follow is through Unscripted, he mentioned, which is amazing.
That's awesome.
So that we can get rid of that FOMO. But Vegas is here, or it's almost here. So what are sort of a few of your must-dos? What are the things that you're looking forward to? And I think the question everybody's asking is, how many suitcases are you taking?
Kirby, excellent question. Thank you so much for knowing to ask. So I actually had this as a topic, so this is good. So must-dos during Expo. There's always must-dos. I'm getting, though, to the point where I almost have Vegas exhaustion.
Oh, for
even
sure.
Going into Vegas.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things I really like to do. Is I always try to find time for myself. That's a very difficult thing to do now that I'm managing a booth as a distributor. I could kind of come and go as I pleased.
Right.
I don't get to do that nearly as much anymore. So I always try to find some time for myself every single day. And I must, another must do for me, Kirby, ghosting. I am the master at the end of the night when I don't want to be around. I'm tired. I've got to get up. It's like, hey, I got to run to the bathroom. People say, okay, and they assume I'll be right back. I just don't tell them that the bathroom's in my hotel room. So I'm not lying.
Yeah,
I'm just going potty privately. It's always great to see people. The things I really think of the must-dos are actually in the preparation part of it, Kirby. It's, I've started, about a week and a half ago, chewing some elderberry gummies. I got my flu shot a couple weeks ago. I take a couple of emergencies every day, trying to boost my immune system, and I'm trying to get a lot of sleep because I know it's difficult to sleep out there.
Yeah.
So to me, those are the must-dos leading up to Vegas. What about you?
It's the one that you mentioned is ghosting. I'm always like, that is something that I really try to work on too. But then I realized that you're not ninjas. The people we're ghosting are drunk. Like,
well, that's why I just say I'm going to the bathroom. Generally I just walk away, and if I'm asked, say I'm just going to go use the restroom.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I don't, and nobody likes goodbyes.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, this year is going to be a quick trip for me.
Yeah, you're turning it around quick.
Yeah, so I'm coming out Saturday, leaving Tuesday night. Just because the following week for me is the Tom show. So I'm trying to schedule a day or two in the office at some point in January. But for me, the must-dos are the Promo Kitchen mixer. That's one that I look forward to. It's actually probably my number one. Because it is the place where you get to shake hands, give hugs, and just kind of reconnect, at least briefly, in a very loud and fun environment. And kind of that group, the group that tends to go to that, are the people that remind me of what is best about our industry. So that's one. And then you and I tend to sneak away for a dinner at one point or another.
Yeah, and we will.
Yeah, and that's a must-do for me.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward. It is a different expo for me because as I wrote in my blog this week, I'm really kind of trying to step back of a lot of the volunteering I've done, which has been wonderful for me, and I love volunteering. But I find myself as I was wrote my blog, I'm burnt out a little bit, and so I'm kind of a shitty volunteer right now because I get easily annoyed, I get frustrated, and I'm not adding the value I want. So this will be my last Promo Kitchen mixer as a chef. I'm stepping away from that, which, you know, it's such a great organization, but it's time for new voices.
Yeah,
it's absolutely time for new voices, and so that'll be bittersweet. I'll do that. So yeah, the mixer's a great one. Mixer's a great one. You know what else is great, Kirby?
What's that, Bill?
That'll be our good time, awesome player men over at Tervis. That's right. They've got that stainless line. They added it to their established line about 2.5 years ago. And the goal, we wanted to be better than the competition by utilizing state-of-the-art custom 360-degree UV printing. They're available in 4 sizes. Your 12-ounce, your 20-ounce, your 30-ounce, and that 24-ounce water bottle, very popular. It's got a 5-year warranty. It's copper-lined, vacuum-insulated, 8 hours hot, 24 hours cold, and it's got that great Tervis brand name your customers are absolutely going to love. So if you want to learn more, go ahead and head over to tervispromos.com. You can see their entire line, and you can see all the great things they're doing with decoration.
I love it. Absolutely some great product there.
All right, Kirby, so it's my turn, yes?
Yes, bring it.
Well, since you kind of took away one of my topics, and I'm going to scratch that out in a very aggressive manner. Okay, so I don't know if you know this.
Okay.
Coca-Cola, and I don't love I love soft drinks, but I don't drink them like I used to because I'm getting fat. Coca-Cola had a subscription box service for swag and special drinks. Did you see this?
I did not.
All right. So it was limited to 1,000 spots, and I'm bummed to say I did not get one of the spots. I'm on the waiting list.
Okay.
So it's 6 months starting in January. It's 3 new beverages, most of them before they hit the shelves. So each box will contain little samples of beverages. So, and quote, exciting surprises and swag.
Nice, okay.
Hate that word. And then, it's $10 a month. So it's 6 months, so it's $10 a month, or $50 for the whole thing up front, so you save $10.
Okay.
How do you feel? The subscription box servicing is really, I would almost say it's not maturing, but it's really hitting kind of its apex right now. It's very popular. It's just for about every possible thing. How are you utilizing that as a distributor? Or are you even?
So I have not. And if I'm being candid, I think the Coca-Cola thing is super interesting, and I think it's a way that, I don't know, for whatever reason, it reminds me of sort of a craft beer sort of model, that all of a sudden they're going to start experimenting with new flavors, and it's a great way for them to get passionate fans to give them feedback in advance of a major release. So that part's really interesting.
Yeah.
And the idea that people are paying for that opportunity and paying for not only the opportunity for product, but also to become an advocate with amazing and high level premium swag, I think is also genius.
Yeah.
Back to the distributor piece.
Yeah.
I've gone back and forth on that a bunch. I haven't gotten my head around how I can do it in a way that I'm charging for and feel good about it. Not to say that you can't. I just haven't figured that out myself.
Yeah.
I will say that we just called them basically box mailers. We did those quarterly for a while, where we partnered with some of our best suppliers.
Yeah.
We got XY, maybe call it 100 self promos. We filled the box with self promos, and then mailed those to some of our top clients. We had success on that, but it was one of those where it started really high, the success, and it started to wane, and so we backed off. I still think there's value in doing that, but I haven't re-implemented it yet. So what do you think?
I've given it some thought, because I do think it's kind of a genius thing. And so to me, it's kind of a hybrid of what you were talking about and where my head's at. So I love the idea of the subscription box service, because I think you can get products in the hands of people who can make decisions. To me, I would do it on a very limited basis, kind of like what Coca-Cola did. I would pick and choose the people I would approach about it in my client base, and I limit it to 10, maybe 15. I do it once a quarter. I do it once a quarter, and I'd figure that if they subscribed to it, and let's say it costs you, let's say $25. It costs you out of your pocket $25. You charge them $40, so you don't make money, but you're covering your costs, and you let them know. So they're paying, let's say, $25 per box, or they're paying $40 a box, so $160 a year for this. That you would give them a $200 credit on any future order as a subscriber, because you could find the margin there to kind of cover that. And I think what you do is exactly what you said. You start creating advocates for In this case, I'm not so sure you're creating advocates for your brand as much because you wouldn't want the Hasseman marketing logo on it. But you're creating advocates for the powerful and effective use of promotional products. And as long as you're covering your costs, both financial and then the resources needed to put it together and mailing it out or dropping it off, whatever that is, I do think there's something there. Now, obviously, sorry, you would need to flesh that out. But I think there's something there that's really, really valuable.
So you got my wheels turning. I like this. So in the items that would go in there, would it be branded with their information? You mentioned it wouldn't be with ours.
No.
What do you envision?
Well, I think you could do it with yours. Ideally, you do it with the clients, but I think now you start getting into setup fees and a lot of things that get expensive. I think actually if you could do a themed box, so you could do a fun logo that said Spring 2020 or Summer 2020 with a logo on it, and maybe a little HMC in the corner or something like that, but something that is not ostentatious, something that doesn't just scream Hasseman, but this is a promotional product that that does two things. Number one, it's a generic logo. They can see the imprint. They can see the size of it, the quality of it, so on and so forth. Second of all, it helps you when they look at this. Hey, I got this thing for you. It says Spring 2020 on it. So it helps you identify what they're talking about.
Right, exactly.
So to me, there's a couple advantages to it. And again, it's kind of a thank you. Maybe you get to a point you don't even charge them for it. You say, I want you to be part of this. You're a test pilot. Maybe it's 5 or 10. We want to send these to you once, 3 times a year, 4 times a year. We want to send these to you so you can see the latest and greatest promotional products. And then what I'd love to do is after, about a week or so after you've received it, I'd love to set some time with you and go through the box and some of the ideas I have that might be applicable to you. Yeah. Again, any opportunity from a sales perspective you can get in front of your client and not just ask, so I want to see how things are going, is a good thing. And I love the subscription box service because who doesn't like receiving dimensional mail that's got free crap in it?
Yeah. No, I actually... No, I really like it. You got, like I say, you've got my wheels turning. It's something we sort of did in the past. You can always get better and evolve. But I like the idea. I think one of the things we've moved to, and you've seen it, right, with our T-shirts and some of our other, is that we're doing things with a message on it, and our branding is someplace else. It's on there, but it's not, as you use the word, ostentatious. My other takeaway is that you don't like the word swag, but you're good with free crap. That's fascinating.
I know. You're asking a lot of questions. But where you could, I think, do with the packaging is like the actual box. I would think it would have Hasseman all over it.
Sure. The
box would. And I didn't mean free crap. I hate you, Kirby.
It's the damn shame when I listen, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Next topic.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let's talk mentorship.
Okay.
We actually mentioned Promo Kitchen just a little bit ago, but I actually saw an article on LinkedIn this week where it talked about that men. So I guess I'm going to throw it out here and say, should mentorship be gender blind, or should men seek out female mentors and vice versa? Should the sort of trending topic on LinkedIn was that men should start to seek out female mentors because there's an issue that there aren't enough female to female mentors, and that was sort of the topic of the article. But then it posed the question of whether or not men should seek out female mentorship, and it made me stop. Right? It made me go, huh? Because I actually have Amy and some other strong females in my life that are and have been sort of mentors at times. But I was like, I don't think about that, but maybe I should. So what do you have an opinion on this?
I do, and it's probably the wrong one. It probably is because I'm not a woman, so it's hard to me. I've never thought about it. And so you could look at that one of two ways. One, of course he hasn't. He's a male chauvinist pig, and he's never given that any consideration at all. My perspective is the other side of I just haven't thought about it because I've had mentors who were female. I've had mentors that were male, and I've never considered gender as part of the equation, to be honest with you. I've never, to me, that's such a bizarre perspective. I would, I can name people who, not in this industry, maybe actually I could in this industry, but people who have mentored me who are females and people who mentored me that were males. So to me, it's kind of a bizarre, it's almost a hypersensitive thing. I mean, are we that sensitive about gender bias that we need to focus on this? And that's where I say I'm not qualified to answer. Maybe we do need to look at this, but it just honestly, it feels weird to me to even think about it. To me, it's a gender-neutral discussion.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's a gender-neutral discussion, and that's why it stopped me, I think, because I had not thought of it before. Yeah. Is why I think it's a valuable conversation to have, because the reality of it is, we went through, and I'll just speak in our community in Coshocton. There was a time when I was looking around the entrepreneurship landscape. It was 100% white male, right?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
But I will say that I have noticed, because I've been paying attention to it, that has shifted. There is a much more stronger female presence in leadership in our community, and I think the community is better for it. I'm not just saying that from a political discussion. So what I would say is, when I saw this, I was like, maybe I should be seeking out that, because the reality of it is, it's about perspective, right? It's about the idea of, okay, regardless of gender, I should be looking for different perspectives.
But aren't you doing that anyway? I guess that's what I'm saying. Aren't you doing that anyway? I mean, when I've sought out mentors or someone to help answer a question, I go to the best person. Right. I don't care if they're male, female, transgender, purple, green, gold. I don't care. I want the best information I have access to. So that might be Mark Graham on some level, and it might be Catherine Graham on a different level.
No, that's fair.
So I've never, ever looked at it as, well, it's got to be a female perspective. Now, there are times I want a female perspective, but that's not mentoring. That's more of, I just want your perspective on this. When it's come to a mentor me, hey, I need you to help with me with. When I think of the term mentoring, Kirby, I think of a long-term, a medium to long-term relationship where there's a specific objective in mind and a big picture process. To me, that is gender neutral. I just don't understand it, and maybe that's just my reptilian male brain. I have no idea.
No, and I be honest with you, I've gone sort of back and forth on this and again, as is the case with this podcast, I've had 24 hours to digest this. You're just getting it, right? But the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, it doesn't mean I have to have a female mentor. But the idea that I should go, okay, am I considering every option, or am I going to my default that is and I'm speaking of myself, not you, but my own laziness, because I'm going to the pool that I always go to. Does it open my mind to go, wait, is there a better option? And that's the way I sort of viewed it.
I think you hit on something. You do want to broaden the pool, okay? Right. But again, it doesn't, I think you always want the best person for the conversation.
I like it.
So Kirby, I'm bringing something up. We talked about it beforehand. You said I told you not to. I'm going to anyway.
Okay.
So we may or may not share this. We're doing a test right now we are going to start videoing the podcast.
Right.
And I don't know what context you're going to bring that up in. We're videoing right now. I don't know if we're going to use it this week. If not this week, then it's going to be 2 weeks from this week.
Correct.
Why did you? So I approached you about it. I was pretty passionate about it. What did you think when I approached you about videoing the podcast?
I think it's the logical next step from this piece of content. I think it's a place where you're seeing YouTube go, and so at the moment you said it, I was like, absolutely. I mean, I think Joe Rogan is a huge.
That's the one I mentioned. Yeah, I think
that's the one I mentioned. But there's others. There's tons of other podcasts that are. And what I like about what Joe Rogan does is that he takes it in bits, like topical. He has a 4-hour podcast, and then he'll take it whatever.
Yeah.
So the reason I was going to bring it up was simply that, this might not work.
No, it might be a disaster.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the camera right now. Is this a disaster, people? Is this bad?
But I think that's how sort of progress, sort of innovation, that sort of thing happens. And I think that where we get into trouble is the unwillingness to make ourselves look stupid. And we have to be willing to be the toddler that is willing to stumble in order to make that progress. Because that's how all progress happens.
Right.
I think so many times, and we talked about it earlier about Nick, is that all of a sudden he bursts onto the scene for a lot of people and is like, man, he's great at this.
Yeah.
Well, my guess is, and I have not talked to Nick about this, that his first 5 or 6, he looks back at those and goes, oh, dear God, what was I doing about this and this? And that's how it was with this podcast. And that's how it was with so many pieces of content. And so to me, the lesson in this is that we're willing to continue to, I don't know, innovate's a strong word, but continue to experiment, maybe.
Right. And I'm sure I think we'll continue to video this and
Yep.
release it both on YouTube and the platforms we always have where you listen to the podcast at Promo Corner,
Yep.
or Stitcher or Apple Podcasts, blah blah blah. But I'm sure it'll evolve. Like, I'm sure we won't see your janky vertical blinds at some point. You're going to want some sort of background back there.
But you said you wanted it to look different than Delivering Marketing Joy. I have a Promo Corner thing, but I was like, no, it should look different. So I didn't.
Yeah, I'm thinking I was wrong on that, Kirby. All right. So we are now at the time of the podcast where we talk about the promo person of the week.
Whoop, whoop.
It's dedicated to highlight that one person, not two, not four, well, sometimes two. But the one person who is in the promo industry, age, gender, affiliation, doesn't matter. But the one person who's grabbing our attention this week, Kirby, it's you. Kirby, who is your promo person of the week?
So really quickly, can I just tell you, I have completely lost track of
I know.
whether
You ask me every week.
Who has promo person of the
Yes.
week and who has best thing ever. So
Yep.
every week at this point, I just do both. So that I'm
good.
covered either way. So
hey, it makes up for all the work I used to do when we used to do rapid fire.
Yes.
Because that was so much preparation to do
yeah.
that.
So no, it's not. It's a good thing, and I'm actually excited because I was thinking it was your week, and I'm excited to give this mention this week. The promo person of the week is someone who has served PPAI. They've been on ASI. They've been an industry titan from a voice perspective, and they created the Online 18. This week, my promo person of the week is Dale Denham because, we talk about it all the time. I totally understand why he doesn't put himself on the list. I mean, heck, you felt compelled to mention, hey, I had nothing in this, even though it's on Promo Corner, because it just feels like a conflict. But the reality of it is the person who's the most powerful on any list is the person who gets to create the list. And Dale Denham calls people out. I will tell you, when this list came out the first year, there were a ton of people on this list that I didn't know, and I was so excited to connect with them because they were people who were sort of like-minded and they were doing things and so Dale is the person who makes that happen. So Dale Denham, for sure, this week especially, is my promo person of the week.
Absolutely love Dan Durham. He is such a great guy. No, I'm kidding. Love Dale. And I think he'll put off a vibe of, hey, I do this and I'm kind of disassociated from it. But I do think he really puts personality in this, and he really puts hardcore thought in this. We mentioned it at the top of the broadcast. He does a great job with it. I was always honored to be on it. Yeah. I remember the first year I was on it, maybe 3-4 years ago. I'm like, wow, really? I'm an idiot.
And we agree.
Well, yeah, I'm still an idiot, right? But I remember last year when I was named number one, it was like, really? Why? I don't feel like I do anything special to deserve that. But just to be on the list is really cool. And just the fact that he puts himself out there and says, this is what I think. Yeah. We talk about putting yourself out there kind of in a dangerous way. And I love that we do this. I love that he does that. So Dale Denham, not Dale Durham or Don Durham. Dale Denham, you are the promotional person of the week. We will give you your virtual high fives next week at PPAI Expo. Okay, Kirby. So we are at the part now of best ever, and I thought it was really, really incumbent upon us to answer this question. I want you to answer this question, and I want you to get dangerous here. Are you going to get dangerous, or are you going to go safe?
I'll probably go safe, but sure. Go ahead.
The best trade show you've ever attended.
Okay. The best trade show I've ever attended. Okay, I will give you
Don't suck up.
I'm not going to. It is so March of 2003, 2002, something like that. I attended the ASI show in Vegas.
Okay.
Up until that moment,
I remember that. I was at that show.
Yeah, I was only at regional shows, and I had actually won a sales competition for calendar sales or something. And so I was brand new to sales, and so this was like I'd been to a few nice regional shows, and I'd never been to Las Vegas. And I'd never been to a show of that magnitude. And I remember walking around awe-inspired, not only at the size of the show, but of the size of Vegas. And I looked around and was like, oh, this is for real. This is where I need to be. And so I'll be honest. It's funny. In that one, this just popped into my head. I saw education from Cliff Quicksell in that one. I mean, like there were so many pieces of that trade show that still stick with me to this day. So that's the one that popped into my head.
Okay, great answer, and I think that's kind of what I was looking for, because easy one to say, well, it's PPI Expo. How could I pick one? Here's what I thought of. I had the good fortune of going to CES about 10 years ago, the Consumer Electronics Show. And for someone who's a dork like me and who loves new technology and loves new gadgets and things like that, I got to tell you, you talk about our trade show, PPI Expo is super huge, super overwhelming. And well done. Love that trade show. But CES takes it to a ridiculous level. And you get to see things as people want them to be. You get to see technology that's really never going to make it out into the public. And it's so much fun to walk through there. And it's, think about the biggest booths. You think about the biggest booths in our trade show. The ones that at CES, 10 times that.
It's hard to imagine, really. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah.
So that's a really good one. I have not been to CES, but I know a bunch of people, you of course, but other people have gone to that and they say it's unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. Very cool. All right. So Kirby, this is where we got to thank our good folks over at commonsku again. They built that platform. It's for distributors, by distributors. There's no better platform to run your distributor business than commonsku. So from ideation to invoicing, commonsku is going to keep your team connected at every stage of the sales process and workflow. So if you want to learn more, head over to commonsku.com/unscripted. You're not going to be sorry you did. Kirby, as always, a pleasure. We will see you very shortly in Vegas.
Looking forward to it.
Oh, real quick. Hey, we're not signing off yet. If you want to see a live recording of Unscripted next week and you're at PPI Expo, head over to booth 5811. That's the Promo Corner booth. You can learn about Promo Plus. You can see everybody there, but we're going to record Unscripted at 11:30 Pacific time, Tuesday morning at booth 5811. So there's an awkward plug at the end of the podcast.
Way to go.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Unscripted with Kirby Hoffman and Bill Petrie. Unscripted is available every Friday at promocorner.com, the leader in digital marketing for the promotional products industry.